Hi folks, it's Howard Scher from Quality Homes. Welcome to the next episode of our Quality Homes seminar series. So when building a custom home, obviously the lot search is a very critical part of the process. And joining us today from Home Group Realty in Guelph is Joanne McDermott, a licensed real estate agent. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you, Howard. I look forward to assisting our clients with finding their lots. This is a really exciting prospect.
Great. Joanne, give us some of your background. How did you get into real estate and what's your experience and education prior?
So I'm a landscape architect from the University of Guelph, and I practiced with conservation authorities, municipal governments, planning and development for about 11 years. And then family demands required me to switch my profession into new home construction. And I've never looked back. And at some point though, again, family demands were making it a little bit difficult for me to be always at the beck and call of my boss's expectations. So I decided to get my real estate license. So now I take my landscape architecture, my new home construction, and I'm now a realtor with Home Group Realty in Guelph.
Fantastic. So even though you're Guelph-based, you'll be able to help all of our clients across Central and Southwest Ontario?
Yes, so recently the real estate boards across most of Southern Ontario, except for the GTA, have shared their databases. And this allows me to do searches from London to Kingston or Belleville, and right up to the Muskokas.
Great, okay, because that encompasses our trading area. So Joanne, somebody's looking for a lot. How's this all going to work? Give us some insight.
Well, first of all, Howard, I'd like to have a conversation either on the telephone or a Zoom call with the buyer, find out more about what they're looking for, what their needs are, what their wants are, so I can truly assist them with their search. It's important that we have a conversation first.
Right, and I guess once that's all done, clients will have to get some listing information, see what lots are available. How do you facilitate that?
Right, so with the buyer's direction, I'll set the client up with a custom search engine that will send them listings to their email address within hours of the property being listed for sale. This is really important when you're looking in a high demand area to be able to act on that listing as soon as it becomes available. The buyers will be able to view the neighborhoods, all the stats on the lot, photographs, descriptions of the land. And I suggest that clients keep an eye on the market for maybe at least 2 months before they actually make a purchase, unless, of course, that perfect property comes up for sale.
Of course. So we've noticed in our business, Joanne, that building lots and acreage are not always are a little bit in short supply. I beg your pardon. Yes. So we've noticed that there's more and more teardowns in our business where people are buying a lot with a older dilapidated house and tearing that down to build a new home. Can you take us through that process as well?
Yes, so in that case, if I would suggest that, especially if they were looking for a building lot within 2 hours of the GTA, that I actually set them up on 2 different searches. One for just, raw land or a residential building lot that meets their criteria. The second would be for a house on a lot that is lower than value than a renovated house, right? But what we're looking for is somebody who's just selling this lot with a house on it at the land value. Now that land value is going to be a little bit higher because the services are already there. There's going to be, there might be a shop or a garage or some other, the well, the driveway, the hydro, all those things are installed. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive. The price point will be different. So we need 2 different searches.
Right, but also we know that development charges are not charged on existing structures, so that could offset some of this,
Yes, exactly.
and the premium as well. Excellent, excellent. So we have all the customers' information. You've targeted them with a good search. They've got options. Up comes the dream lot, and it's something that they really love to see. Tell us about the next steps in actually heading towards the purchase process, please.
Well, I think the first and most important thing is when we find a lot that's for sale, it's going to be, you're going to want to speak to the Quality Engineered Homes financial partners if you need financing, right? And that has got to be your first step, to have your financing in order. You can actually do this before that perfect lot comes up. One of the huge benefits of building a quality engineered home is that the banks will usually limit the down payment to 35% if you have immediate plans to build. Right. Whereas if you're just buying raw land with no immediate plans to build, they're often looking up to 50% down. And this, of course, depends on your own personal finances and credit rating, all those kind of good things. But generally speaking, they should have 35% down as a minimum.
Great. So probably get pre-qualified at the same time to understand the overall budget. Make sure they have 35% in equity to procure the lot. That's really good information. So talking about costs, what do you charge the clients for the service and your assistance?
This is one of the best things, is it's no charge. So normally throughout Southern Ontario, the seller pays the realtor's fees, all right? So, but at some point in our relationship, I'm going to want to formalize the relationship and ask the buyer to sign some paperwork. Basically, the paperwork is a buyer's representation agreement, and they can think of this as how they hire me. Because at some point, right, I'm going to want to be paid for my services, what I've done for them, and I'll need them to commit to me.
But the seller would be paying the commission. So I kind of like it. I hire you and somebody else pays you.
Yeah, it's kind of wonderful. But the real estate associations have done that on purpose, because helping new first-time buyers come into the market, they don't have to pay. It makes sense.
Okay, so what deeper research should we be doing about the lot itself? Just to make sure that it's, obviously as the builder, we know some of the pitfalls, but what can the customers do right off the bat? What research should they be doing before the purchase process?
So if they know there's a certain area what they want to build, let's say Muskoka or, Lambton, it doesn't matter where it is. One of the first things they should probably do is go online and take a look at the zoning regulations. When they do find a lot, they're going to want to actually speak to the municipality, look at the zoning, look at, any environmental restrictions. Maybe are there any developments planned, especially for country lots? You want to find out if there's, some like a industrial factory going in next door or something, right? So, and if there's environmental protections on the property you're interested in, you'll need to contact the Conservation Authority and have a discussion with them about what your plans are for the lot, and make sure that it is in accordance with the Conservation Authority's mapping of the property. So I will help them through this. I will, give them directions. I can send them the links. But it's really important, if they already know where they want to build, they could start doing some of that research ahead of time.
And that's all public knowledge, right? It's
yes.
Readily available at the town. Okay, excellent.
Yes, it's all on the municipalities' websites.
Yeah. So, Joanne, we as the constructor and the builder keep getting asked, should I design my house first? Should I find a lot first? We generally tell our customers that we'd love you to know exactly what lot you're purchasing, for various reasons affecting the design. Can you get into that a bit more in terms of lot features and how that works?
Certainly, because one of the reasons I like working with quality engineered homes is if your lot doesn't, actually match up exactly with your floor plan, they will they will redesign it or modify it to fit on your lot. But let's take a client that's, wants to have sunset views out of their back, out of their deck, from the living room. So I'll help them with, the lot's orientation, south, north, west, east. We'll take a look at things like that. Another really common one is walkout basements, right? Another one of my favorite features. So you have to have the required slope for the walkout basement, or at least the lot has to be large enough that the drainage can be accommodated within the lot.
Yeah, and generally customers do have us walk their lots with them so that we can take advantage of these features, so that the actual siting of the house and where to put in the driveway, well septic, we'll help them with that process. So I think once they have that vision in mind, it's great for us to be able to bring it to fruition for them. This is a challenging time in terms of lot availability, COVID, and everything else. How do buyers know what to look for? How do they spot a good bargain? What's going on in the market out there, Joe, that customers should be aware of and be able to take advantage or not get left behind in the process?
So many people look for direction on how to compare lots, apples for apples example, but it's not as simple as that, especially when you're talking about land. No two lots are exactly alike. But what I will advise them, though, is that if they find a lot online, I can look at I'll find sold comparable parcels of land for them. I'll give them statistics. We'll talk about days on market. We'll talk about median sales prices, those kind of things. But we have to be careful when we're looking at, people want to talk about price per acre. And farmers do that. They talk about price per acre. But when you're looking for a residential building lot, let's say it's got environmentally protected land on it, or there's a portion of land that can't be developed for some reason, then that portion of that lot or parcel of land has a lower value. So we have to be very careful comparing land parcels.
Right.
So I'm going to give you an example, like an easy example. Let's say, you're looking for a residential building lot and you find one that in your area, you like it, and it's already got the well installed, the driveway's installed, the hydro's at the lot line, and it's only $20,000 more than a similar parcel of land. Well, as long as those services that are already installed meet with your plans or fit with your house design or what you want to do on that lot is good value. Okay?
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. Yeah. So, obviously seeing things online is great, and doing the comparables and the research online is great, but, there's absolutely no substitute for getting out there, yes, walking the lot, smelling the earth, feeling the feels. What's the process with that? There's no house on it. I'm assuming there's still protocols and things that need to be taken care of. So, take us through walking that beautiful lot for the first time.
Yes. So many sellers require that you have permission to walk the land. So if you want to go visit the lot, you're going to give me a call. You're going to tell me the date and time, and I'm going to get permission from you. There have been cases of sellers suing people for trespassing. So it's serious. Okay. And then at any time you want to go back and walk that lot again, or, another day you want to go to another lot, every time you want to go, we need to seek the seller's permission. And of course, before you want to make an offer on the lot, I want to visit the lot with you. Okay. Right.
And the permission will be done through you and your office. Is that the
yes?
mechanism?
So it's very simple. It's like I normally will have permission for you to walk the land within an hour, right? Okay. But that said, I would prefer 24 hours notice, because sometimes the selling brokerage can't get in touch with the client.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
So the selling client, right?
So, Joanne, in our business, we are seeing a huge migration from urban centers to rural centers. This started before COVID with downsizing and, our baby boomers retiring, kids going off to college. So, there was a nice trend in terms of people moving from urban centers into more rural settings. I think COVID has amplified that exponentially. So people want to leave the GTA.
Right.
Roughly, what are we looking at price-wise? And I know this is a very, very broad question because, how long is a string? But give us a little guide. If we're going to drive an hour outside of the GTA, if we're going to drive 2 hours outside of the GTA, what are the, what's the market values looking like in terms of that increasing radius?
So, Howard, if you're willing to drive an hour from the GTA, you could probably find a building lot that is around 400,000 that's under half an acre. Of course, there's going to be, there's greater, there's less, but generally I would use around 400,000 as your price point right now in the fall of 2020. If you're looking for a couple of acres in that same 1 hour's drive, you're looking at probably more like upwards of 600,000 for the lot, because they're highly sought after. And don't be surprised that the seller is holding offers on the building lot. Now, if the buyer is willing to drive even in, let's say an hour and a half, 2 hours, the prices start to drop dramatically. So what we'll see within an hour and a half, 2 hours, is you can probably find the same parcels of land like under 200, maybe 150. If you really want to find a parcel of land to build on that's under 100,000, they exist. There's lots of them, but they're probably a 2.5 hour drive straight north from the GTA.
Okay, well,
Okay.
and we are seeing more and more of that. So, the beauty of building a quality home is that we're not geographically bound.
Yes.
So if you want to be 1 hour outside the GTA, if you want to be 2 hours, that's a service that we offer, and gladly so. Okay, so we've been pre-qualified. We understand the 35% down. We've signed some paperwork with Joanne. Somebody else is going to pay for it. Yay. We've seen a lot. We love it. We've walked it. It fits within our budget parameters, given the radii that you've just spoken about. Here we are. It's time. Take us through the next step. How do we start pulling the trigger on this, and how do we start turning dreams into reality?
Okay, well, I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to compare and discuss, things like the average days on market, the, average prices, median prices for similar parcels of land. It's going to be at this point a real, we're going to get right down to that area that they're looking at purchasing in. We're going to compare the statistics. And my goal is to get the buyer comfortable with the price that they need to pay for the lot, right? By looking at comparative prices. Of course, if a lot is priced too high, we're going to argue that. But before we make an offer to purchase, though, at some point in our relationship, I'm going to send the buyer all the purchasing paperwork so that they have a chance to read it. There's several forms, and there's an agreement of purchase and sale that they need to be able to sign and be comfortable with all the clauses that are involved. And I find there's lots of buyers out there that, maybe bought their house 20 years ago, and they haven't bought land or a house in the past 20 years, and they don't know what the process is. So my job is to make it easy for them and to make it as stress-free as possible.
Fantastic. Well, peace of mind in building is a rarity. So, between your lot search and our construction program, I think we've got the bases covered. In closing, Joanne, any other tidbits of information, tips you'd like to give? Maybe a hotspot or two at the moment that's really good value in terms of finding a lot? Right.
So tips, I think the biggest tip is, and I'll be able to tell you this as soon as the buyer tells me where they want to purchase. There's some areas that the land goes very quickly. I've seen in the past month or so, I've seen 2 parcels of land sell within the first day firm. I'm talking firm, within the first day it was listed for sale. And that means the buyer who purchased that property didn't even go and look at it. They just sent in the offer to purchase. I would never suggest that to one of your buyers, like one of our clients. But that's the kind of competition that's out there. So you need to be aware of that in certain very hot markets. Now, there are areas of the province that are maybe more affordable than other areas. And interestingly enough, I find there's quite a few building lots coming up sort of south of Peterborough, north of Cobourg, that kind of area. And they tend to be a little bit less than a similar distance west of Toronto. That's, I find that interesting. Southwest beyond Brantford, not Brampton, Brantford, is also a very undervalued area right now, but I suspect to see by next year that those land values will be right up on par with everybody else.
Yeah. And it's amazing that
further north you go, right now, I'd say Muskoka, Parry Sound is very affordable. Yeah. There's lots of building lots up there. There are lots on waterfront, but the waterfront lots, of course, are going to be way more expensive. But if you just want a house in the country, somewhere nice, Muskoka and Parry Sound area is a good area to look.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Okay.
So Joanne, typically closings are running how long? You make an offer. Typically, how long would you wait for a lot to close, just so that the customers can get some timelines in front of them?
So we can make an offer conditional on financing, and if the client is not satisfied that their floor plan is going to work with the municipality or the footprint on the lot, then we can make it conditional upon them getting approval from the municipality, right? That would normally take 2 to 3 weeks. So the land could close, normally it would close within 30 to 60 days at the max, right?
So in that time, they can start their QualityHomes process and start looking at design, so things can happen simultaneously. That's really good. Yeah. Joanne, this has been very insightful. Thank you so much. Obviously your experience speaks for itself, and I can't wait for our clients to have such a wonderful resource at their disposal. Buying a lot is not easy, but it sounds like you certainly make it that way, and obviously we look forward to our continued success.
I'd just like to say thank you, and I look forward to helping your clients build their quality home. I look forward to helping them on the journey of finding their lot.
Joanne, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and look forward to your continued success. Thanks again.
Thank you, Howard, for having me today.